Yeah, I don't know why everyone says that the C922 is amazing. I think it is my least favorite. Welcome to the blind battle of the Larceny barrel proof bourbons. I'm your host Sam, and this is Whiskey and SV. All right, so tonight it is the end of a long weekend. Today is Juneteenth, which is a new federal holiday as of 2 years ago, and I'm going to be tasting these beautiful barrel proof bourbons. They are wheated bourbons from Heaven Hill Distillery. And if you remember, the definition of bourbon means that there has to be at least 50% corn, right? And these do meet that criteria, but they're known as wheated bourbons because the secondary grain in them is wheat. And I believe the mash bill is 68% corn, 20% wheat, and then 12% malted barley. And generally, wheated bourbons are supposed to be a little bit more sweet and smooth, and kind of like nicer for like beginners, I guess, but also for more experience, especially when it's barrel proof. And as for other Heaven Hill, the other main Heaven Hill product, which is the Elijah Craig barrel proof, there are 3 batches of this per year, and they're typically they number they name them or number them, I guess, batches A, B, and C. But then the way it works is that there's like A, B, or C depending on whether it's in January, May, or September. And the second number is always like the month, so it's A1 means it's kind of redundant, right? A and 1 are kind of the same thing. B and 5, that's the second thing, the same thing. And then C and 9, again, it's redundancy, right? C means 9, basically, right? It's the third batch, and it's the month of September always. And then the last 2 numbers are the year. So yeah, so let me show you this one. So this one is like, for example, C921, meaning it was the batch that was put out on basically September of 2021, right? So it's the third batch of the year, and it was put out at 122.6 proof, which is 61.3% ABV. Second on the list tonight, we have the batch C922. This one was one that was came with a lot of fanfare. A lot of people said that this is the best batch they've had in a long time, and people swore by it. And it was much harder to find than the other ones. And honestly, I didn't see it. I thought it was fine, but I didn't think it was anything that special. But we'll do a blind tonight to be sure. So this one's 126.6 proof, which is 63.3% ABV. Last but not least is the current release, which is the B523, and so that's that. I got this bottle I think last week. I've already opened it and had a dram from it. Honestly, this one is 124.4 proof, 62.2% ABV, and I thought this was in every way superior to the 922. At least when I had the first neck pour side by side, this to me was a lot more fruity and just all around a much nicer whiskey. But without further ado, let us go ahead and do a blind because people say things and you get influenced, but you never really know until you do a blind. So okay, we have to make sure. I'm gonna again like this. I'm gonna refrain from using the black Glencairns because um, generally I think whenever I use the black Glencairns, I get confused by the smells. Cap number 1 on the C921. The C922 as number 2. And I'm going to put them on the turntable because no lady to uh, do the shuffling for us tonight, so I have to do it myself. And the batch 523, and that is number 3. All right, great, cool. So we'll let that go, and while that's going, I'm gonna have to clean up here a little bit because I did spill quite a bit. I'll do a little bit more shuffling just in case. And I will turn off the turntable this time. This is a cool little nifty thing that we have here. Okay. Right, so let's get started. I'm first just going to go through and nose each one because I think I don't want to be in a situation where um, I start like drinking because they're barrel proof. So if you once I taste one, I think they're all just gonna like my taste buds are gonna go. So I just want to make sure that I just smell them first. Kind of yeah, of course, you get the usual bourbon aromas of vanilla and caramel, but there's an additional fruity note underneath all of it. Very similar. Can't really. Oh, this one is much sweeter. So out of these, I think these two are kind of similar. This one is much sweeter, I think. This is the most. This one is the most, I guess, closed off, if that's the word. It doesn't seem as it doesn't seem as opened up as the other one. So this has some tobacco notes as well, some old tobacco notes. Okay, so I would say they're very close. There's not a very clear winner for me out of these. Um, yeah, I think probably slight preference for this one. All right, so let's start tasting them a little bit. So we'll go with the one that's my favorite so far. Okay, that gets quite spicy. There's quite a bit of bite to it. Um, yeah, there's the usual sweet caramel, vanilla, brown sugar notes come out. There's quite a lot of spices, which is surprising for a wheated whiskey. But it could also be ethanol burn. I always have difficulty placing whether that is, some sort of spice or if it's like an ethanol burn. But I guess ethanol burn, I get more of, water on the side of my tongue versus the spices usually linger, and this one is lingering. So I want to say it's not ethanol burn; it's more like the spices. And where those spices are coming from, I'm not really sure. Okay, let's try this one. Yeah, this definitely has a distinct tobacco note to it that was missing from that one. Let me do a side by side. It's not really missing. Just not as pronounced, I guess. Okay, so let's see what this one's like. Yeah, very similar. A lot less spicy. I wonder if it's because it was the first dram I had that it was that spicy or not. I'll come back to it though. There's yeah, a little bit like kind of like a baking soda, baking spice kind of thing to it. Um, Not bad, not bad, not. I wouldn't say this is like the best profile in a bourbon for me, but it's definitely decent. Interesting. This one has a even more spicy than the first one kind of taste to it, and a little bit of kind of artificial, um, little bit of an artificial kind of like taste. Um, yeah, at this point, I am not really sure which one I prefer, but let me go again. I think that's my least favorite. They're surprisingly spicy for wheated bourbons. Yeah, there's some bitterness that comes through at the end as well. I don't know if that's from oak or what. Yeah, on the nose, this is by far my favorite. Um, and then when it comes to the palate, okay, let's go for a second sip. I feel like this has more bitters though at the end of it, but on the nose is the favorite, I think. Yeah, this is my least favorite. This is my most favorite. and I think this is kind of in between. Interestingly, the palate on this is better than the palate on this, but the nose is not as good. Okay, I mean, at this point, I think going back and forth is not going to be productive. So these are going to be my choices. I think this is my favorite, this is my least favorite, and this is kind of in between. So 1, 2, 3. Now, if I was to guess which is which, I think this is the 523 because I remember when I did a side by side. To me, it was much nicer than the C922, but who knows? And between C922 and C921, I don't remember a big difference when I did a side by side a long time ago. So yeah, let's do it. Let's do a reveal. Okay, so this is number 3. Yes, I was correct. This is the 523. So there's definitely a superior nose to this one. It is just much more fruity and yeah, it's just all around nicer, I think. Okay, second one is number 1. So it is the C922. So the C922 is superior to the C921, which make this number 2. Oh wait, no, number 2. This is number 1. Sorry. So this is the C921. So I actually preferred. So my least favorite actually ended up being the C922. That's crazy. Um, yeah, I don't know why everyone says that the C922 is amazing. I think it is my least favorite. Yeah, people. I mean, stores were literally marking this one up, that particular batch, the C922, saying that it's amazing. And no, I think the the B523 is by far my favorite. So there you have it. I think this is a new batch, so if you can go out and get it, I highly recommend it. I think it's much better than the C922, and definitely better than the C921. So yeah, okay, so that's the episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, tune in next week for more. Take care. Have a good night.